Welcome to day 6 of the 21-day public speaking challenge. How are you? How this journey has been so far for you? Let me know in the comments. I'm so keen to know. Anyway, today we embark on this exciting journey of crafting your yoga speech. Crafting your yoga speech is a journey of self expression and authenticity infused by your expertise, your experience in a way that resonate with you and your students. Each component of your Dharma talk, how you suggest props, contraindication, techniques, cues, mudra, bandhas, chakras, breath, whatever, drishti, will guide your students seamlessly through the transformative journey of yoga. So it is so important to craft your speech with awareness. Without further ado, let's begin. So, crafting your yoga speech. In the realm of guiding others through yoga practice, your words hold the power to inspire, soothe, encourage, ignite transformation within your students. Therefore, let your speech be a reflection of your unique journey, expertise, and heartfelt wisdom. First of all, be original and authentic. As you craft your yoga speech, draw from the wellspring of your experience and insights, your practice, your yoga teaching, the books that you have read. Try to avoid sentences from the teacher training manuals, reciting a script, or following a rigid structure. Don't get me wrong, it's good to have a structure. In fact, preparation is essential. But in a yoga class, you want to allow your words to flow naturally, guided by intuition and empathy. Whatever you see from your students, you need to adjust. You want to infuse your language with the authenticity that comes from speaking from the heart, infused with warmth, compassion, and authenticity. Embody the qualities that define your teaching style, whether it's gentle, nourishing energy, a sense of playful encouragement, or a deep spiritual wisdom. Let your authentic presence shine through. Create genuine connection. When we talk about speaking to our students in a class, it's not just about conveying information or instructions. It's about creating a genuine connection, fostering a supportive atmosphere, a supportive community. You want to speak as you have a conversation with each one of them in the room, acknowledging their presence and honoring their unique journey. So invite your student to feel seen, heard, and valued. Remember that your words have the power to inspire, uplift, and empower. By speaking from the heart and sharing a depth of your understanding, you create an atmosphere of trust and openness where students can feel safe to explore and grow. Allow ideas to flow freely at first. What does it mean? Before you start to write your speech, allow your ideas to flow freely at first without the constraints of self doubt and overthinking. Trust in the wisdom that reside within you, allowing it to guide you through your words with ease and grace. Ensure that each segment of your speech unfolds naturally from the one before it, creating a cohesive journey for your students. Whether you are weaving together a theme in your class, having a structured framework can help ensure that each element flows seamlessly and builds upon the foundation established by the preceding one. Let's have a look at what this structure might look like, and let's break it down into. Sorry, I haven't changed the slide, but anyway, I hope you follow that through. So, we're going to break it down into introduction, body, beginning, and end. Sorry, introduction, beginning, body, and end. That's the right structure. Anyway, so introduction. Introduction. As you embark on the journey of crafting your yoga speech, consider, sorry, just one second. Yeah. Consider beginning with the grounding introduction that sets the tone for the practice ahead. So, the self introduction, for example, you want to introduce yourself authentically, allowing your student to connect with you on a personal level, not just as a teacher, but on a personal level. Share a bit about your background, your journey with yoga, and of course, what inspired you to be your yoga teacher, but also what are your struggles to be a yoga teacher so people can relate to you if they want to become yoga teacher. This helps establish a rapport and create a welcoming atmosphere for your students. So tell them, where are you starting from? Acknowledge that you might be new to yoga or have limited experience. Share with your students that you approach share with your students that you approach yoga teaching with an open mind and a willingness to explore and evolve. Adjustment permission essential at the start of your class. Before offering any physical adjustment, ask your students for their consent. Respect their boundaries and preferences. That's how you build trust. And remind them that adjustments are optionals. Encourage students to communicate any discomfort with you or any concern that might have, and reassure them that their well-being is your top priority. Ask about injuries. This is also very, very important. And we're moving into the next slide. At the beginning of each class, invite students to share any injuries or physical limitation they might have. Encourage open communication and assure students that you will provide appropriate modification to support their practice. Remind them that it's essential to listen to the body and avoid pushing themselves beyond their limits. You can ask about injuries, for example, at the beginning of the class when they sit in meditation. You can ask them to close their eyes and, like maybe raise their hands, and you come over and you talk with them about injury. But I prefer, in my personal opinion, to ask when they walk in the studio, because you have a sort of like intimate interaction so they don't have to share it with everyone else. Manage diverse levels in yoga class. As a teacher, it's your responsibility to create a class environment that accommodates students of all levels, offering a variety of options for each pose, ranging from beginner friendly variation to more advanced variation, which we talked in the last class, in the last module. So if you haven't had a chance to watch it, please go ahead and watch it. Encourage students to choose the option that feels right for their bodies, for their journey, for the yoga practice, and modify it as needed throughout the class. Provide clear instructions and demonstration, and offer individualized attention and support when necessary. Foster a sense of community and inclusivity within the class, and remind students that yoga is a personal journey that looks for different yoga types, for different mind, whatever, for different levels of understanding and awareness. Props suggestions. Introduce props such as blocks, straps, blankets, and bolster as a helpful tool to support and enhance the practice. Explain how props can assist on alignment, stability, and accessibility, and encourage students to use them as needed, even if they are advanced. Demonstrate how to incorporate props into various poses and offer suggestions for when and how to use them effectively. Remind students that props are not a sign of weakness. I see that a lot in a yoga class, but rather a valuable resource for deepening the practice and exploring new possibilities in variations, modification, and whatnot. Safety and housekeeping. Review studio etiquette and safety guidelines, including proper mat placement, respecting personal space, and maintaining cleanliness. Provide information about emergency procedures and the location of first aid supplies. Ensure that the practice space is well ventilated and free from hazards such as slippery floors or obstacles. Remind students to take breaks as needed, and perhaps you want to guide them into child pose or just suggesting child pose here and there so people can find an easy time within their practice. And encourage them to inform you of any issues or concerns or variation that they might need within the pose as they moving along the class. Explanation of the yoga class. Give an overview of what to expect during the class, including the style of yoga, the duration of the class, and any specific themes or focuses that we explore in the previous modules. If you haven't watched it yet, go and explore. I think it was day 4 and 5. Outline the structure of the class, including warm up, asana practice, breath work, and relaxation. Encourage students to set intention for the practice and to approach each pose with mindfulness and awareness. Let them know that your goal is to create a balanced and nurturing experience that support their physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Breath explanation. Explain the importance of breath awareness in yoga practice and how it serves as a bridge between the body and the mind. Encourage students to synchronize their breath with movement, emphasizing the role of breath in promoting relaxation, reducing stress, and enhancing concentration. Guide students in cultivating a smooth and steady breath throughout the class, reminding them to return to their breath whenever the mind wanders away. Teach basic breathing techniques such as ujjayi breath or diaphragmatic breaths. Your interpretation of yoga. Share your perspective on yoga and what it means to you. Discuss how yoga extend beyond the physical postures to encompass mindfulness, self-discovery, and spiritual growth. Emphasize the holistic nature of yoga and its ability to cultivate balance, harmony, self-exploration, and transformation, and to approach the practice with curiosity. Super important. Remind them that yoga is a lifelong pursuit that involves overtime, and that each moment on the mat is an opportunity to grow. We're moving on to the beginning of the class, which is a pranayama pose and the technique. Start by guiding your students into a comfortable seated position with their spine straight and their breath steady. Introduce a pranayama practice, which is the art of conscious breathing, as a fundamental element of their yoga practice. Encourage them to deepen their awareness of each inhale and exhale. There are so many pranayama techniques that you can incorporate in your practice. You can, of course, explore any of them that has a sort of inclusivity, a sort of like inclusivity with the needs of your students, but also has a follow up within the theme of your class. Meditation pose and technique. Transition seamlessly from pranayama into a gentle meditation practice. Invite them to close their eyes, turn their attention inwards, releasing tension with each breath. Offer guidance on cultivating mindfulness, whether through focus attention on their breath, body scan techniques, or mantra repetition. Chanting. Introduce the practice of chanting as a means of harnessing the power of sound. Introduce the practice of chanting, emphasize the intention behind the chant. It could be a means of harnessing the power of sound vibration, quiet the mind, uplifting the spirit, heal the Vishuddha or throat chakra, Choose a simple yet meaningful chant or mantra that aligns with the theme of your class to share with your students, inviting them to join if that feels comfortable for them. And then we have, sorry, the Dharma talk was actually before the warm up. But anyway, I'm going to change it later on, and you can download the slides in my Zenler account, all the description in the video down below. So the Dharma talk is before the warm up. In the Dharma talk, it's an opportunity for your student to explore beyond physical posture, aiming to inspire reflection and personal growth. Topics might include philosophical foundation, ethical guidelines, and mindfulness. All right, we're moving on to the warm up and sun salutation because, of course, the warm up includes sun salutation. Transition from the stillness of meditation into dynamic movement of warm up exercises and sun salutation. Guide your students through a series of gentle stretches and joint mobilization exercise to awaken the body and prepare it for more vigorous asanas practice ahead. Then let them know that there is a sun salutation coming in and you want to link the breath with the movement to cultivate a sense of flow and vitality. This sequence is part of the sequence is most important practice for different reasons. For example, it increases blood flow or muscle temperature. It has a lot of impact on the joint lubrication. It's a mental preparation. It is a injury prevention and improve the range of motion. Most of the asanas in the warm up are meant to strengthen the core, stretches with forward bends, open with back bends and hip opening, and mobilize especially the spine with torso side bends and twist. Sun salutation, as I said, is also part of the warm up, as is a mild mix between hip opening, like Anjaneyasana or Ashra Sanchalanasana, core strengthening or arm strengthening, like Kumbhakasana, back bends, like Bhujangasana, and a forward bend, which is Uttanasana. The time allotted for the beginning of your class should be in 60 minutes class is 5 minutes, in 75 minutes is 6 minutes, and is 9 minutes is normally 8 minutes warm up. Important here. Sorry, that was the right slide. As you begin to guide your student through each pose, consider the following points for each asana. Props for misalignment, injuries, and limitations. Address common misalignments, injuries, and body limitation, and integrate props to support students and enhance their practice. Contraindications and cautions. Clearly outline the contraindication and offer caution for safe practice and ensure students are aware of potential challenges and modifications. Techniques and cues. Provide detailed techniques and cues for proper alignment. Reinforce the use of props as supportive tools for optimal practice. Secondary cue. You want to implement some mudras, some bandhas, and some chakras. You want to explore the subtle dimension of yoga throughout mudras, bandhas, and chakras. You want to offer guidance on how those elements deepen the practice and connection. Secondary cues, the breath. As we mentioned at the beginning of the class, you want to also mention in the secondary cue, you want to emphasize the importance of breath in each pose. You want to guide students to synchronize breath with movement for a mindful practice. Secondary cue is also very important of, for example, on balancing poses is drishti or antara drishti. Drishti is the look, is the outside look. So for example, look few feet away from your mat to find focus within your warrior three, for example, or antara drishti. Normally you use it when you are in a seated poses and you want to have an entire drishti inside. So it could be an entire drishti on your chakra, it could be an entire drishti on a specific part of your body. Explain the significance of the drishti in maintaining focus and balance. It's super important in your class. Introduce antara drishti as an inward gaze for inner reflection. Secondary cues is also Dharma talk. You want to incorporate the Dharma talk by sharing insights and wisdom relevant to the class theme or relevant to the intention of the class. And you want to connect with the students on a deeper level through meaningful reflections. Also, you want to talk about the benefit of a certain asana, the benefit of a certain meditation. Highlight the physical, mental, and emotional benefits for each pose, for each meditation practice, inspiring students with the positive impact yoga can have on their well-being. So we're moving on to the body. As we delve into the heart of the yoga practice, let us journey together through a sequence of asanas designed to awaken, strengthen, and nourish the body and mind. As we guide our student through each poses, we offer clear and concise cues to support proper alignment and safety. Of course, if you have a beginner class, it's totally different if you have an advanced class. You want to incorporate more techniques, cues, contraindication, and cautions for a beginner class, and you want to go more sharp and concise with an advanced class. And you want to maybe incorporate more a Dharma talk instead of alignment for each pose for an advanced class. Here we want to encourage students to listen to their body pretty much like in the entire class, but on a standing sequence, on a middle one and middle two, it is essential to listen to one's body limitations and availabilities, offering modifications and variations and as needed. With each breath, we remind our students to cultivate a sense of mindfulness and presence, anchoring themselves in the present moment and the wisdom of the inner guidance. For each posture, we cultivate a deep connection to the self of and the present moment, honoring the innate wisdom of the body and the sacredness of the practice. Of course, this is a moment where alignment is very, very, very essential. So what we want here, as we don't have mirrors normally when we practice yoga, what we want here is to really cultivate that inner wisdom within the students. How do we make that possible within our class? Maybe asking question, maybe offering more of a Dharma talk, offering more of alignment. You find your way within offering inner wisdom within their practice. Middle one is the right combination of standing poses and balancing poses, aimed at building strength, stability, and flexibility. The difference between standing poses and balance is that standing involves having both feet firmly planted on the floor, focusing on stability, while balancing typically involves standing on one foot, which challenge the focus and the concentration. The time allotted allocation for this part of the class is for a 60 minutes class is 5 asanas. For a 75 minutes is 6 to 7 asanas, and for 9 minutes is 8 asanas. Moving on to middle 2. Continuing our journey, we transition in a sequence of asanas that invite us to explore deeper layers of awareness. Middle two is a balanced blend of arm balancing, back bends, and inversions. The approach to this sequence varies depending on the time of the day, but also the capacity and the level of your students. But let's talk about the time of the day. So if you have a morning practice, the primary goal is to energize and invigorate participants, students. You want to focus on incorporating a few inversion to stimulate energy and wake and wakefulness, providing a refreshed start to the day. So you might perhaps want to incorporate more arm balancing and back bends instead of inversions. In the evening practice, the emphasis shift to cooling down and rebalancing the body. You want to incorporate more inversions to promote relaxation, aiding in the transition to a restful state, even though they're quite energizing practices. Middle two for beginners, as I mentioned before, when you want to honor your beginner class, you want to emphasize more into forearm balancing, arm balancing, and gentle back bends, building strength and flexibility gradually to support progressions in the practice. The time allocations for a 60 minutes class is 3 to 4 asanas. For a 75 minutes class is 4 to 5 asanas. For a 90 minutes class is 5 to 6 asanas. Cool down. We are almost at the end. So, as we approach the conclusion of our practice, we gently transition into a series of cooling positions, cooling asanas designed to soothe the body and calm the mind. In the cooling down sequence, most of the asanas are seated, which is a great invitation to calm the body, soften, surrender, and be present in the moment and find peace and stillness. Consider a mix of forward bend poses for introspection, surrender, and deep relaxation, but also hip opening to release a store emotion, and spinal twist for flexibility and letting go of tensions and resistance. In the cool down, you want to come back to the original intention of the class to close up a beautiful cycle, guiding them into a small Dharma talk, perhaps, and can be related, of course, to the class. And simply guide them to breath awareness. The time allocation for this part of the class for 60 minutes is 5 asanas, for 75 minutes is 6 to 7 asanas, and for 90 minutes is 8 asanas. We are coming to the end. Shavasana. Shavasana, also known as a corpse pose, is a final resting pose in a yoga practice. It serves as a crucial element for release effort and tension. These poses allow you to let go of all the physical and mental effort, facilitating a complete relaxation of the body and mind. This part is also great to integrate and assimilate. It provides the opportunity to integrate, assimilate, and absorb the benefit and wisdom of the practice, allowing its transformative energy to permeate every cell. Trust that inner transformative intelligence body to integrate, trust in the innate intelligence of the body to integrate the experience of the practice. Also, you want to surrender to stillness here. Shavasana is a sacred space of stillness where you fully surrender to the present moment, embracing a deep sense of peace and tranquility. Here, you want to also rest and rejuvenate. It's time to rejuvenate, giving your body a chance to recover and restore its energy. The aim is to hold Shavasana for at least 5 minutes, ensuring ample time for student to transition into and out of these deeply restorative asanas. When you guide into when you have that time allotted for Shavasana, you want to consider the time when you guide students into Shavasana and the time to guide them out of Shavasana. As you guide students into Shavasana, we encourage them to release any remaining tensions, allowing them to fully surrender to stillness. When you guide out of Shavasana, as we guiding them out, you want to ask them to roll over one side, right? You want to perhaps, like, I don't know, moving your fingers, moving your toes to slowly bring back the awareness to the body. So all those small cues, you have to include it into your shavasana, into your 5 minutes of asana. Of course, if you have a 60 minutes class, if you have a 90 minutes class, you might want to extend that time. Anyway, in this final pose, embrace the stillness of silence. You don't want to talk to your students. You want to allow to become a profound moment of connection to oneself and sometimes the universe as well, especially if we practice in nature. All right. In this part of the class, which is the end of your class, you might want to include as well some meditation, pranayama, or chant that resonate with the class to seal the moment, to seal the practice. But you also want to include some intentional Dharma talk that goes back to the theme of your class. You also want to give some announcements, for example, like upcoming events, upcoming workshops, opportunity to further explore the journey of yoga. And I love this. I love to ask for feedback. Before we conclude, you can say something like, before we conclude, I invite you to share any feedback to make my experience, to make my yoga journey more of a reflective experience where I need to come back to my mistakes and going through them and evolve through them, something like that. And then a moment of gratitude. A moment of gratitude could be a moment of gratitude to be the guidance. So if you can say, for example, you can say something like, thanks for letting me your guide for these 20 to 75 minutes class, and namaste, whatever. Otherwise, you can simply suggest them to be grateful for their body, to be grateful to show up today, to be grateful for being healthy, to be grateful for whatever it is. Remember, the conclusion of today's class. Day 6 is all about structuring and crafting your yoga speech. Try to familiarize yourself with each step before crafting your authentic and impactful yoga speeches. Remember to be authentic and to share your journeys and expertise. Don't be afraid of your weaknesses. Don't be afraid of your struggles. Share whatever is happening in your life. Tomorrow, we will delve into practicing the sequence and taking notes. You will find all the current and the following day's slides in Femarian's and Zenler accounts. All the details are down below in the description of this video. Stay dramatically different. I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao for now.